So we actually all dissociate at some point in our lives. The most common one is daydreaming, where your body is maybe sedentary and your mind is doing something else. They're having different experiences simultaneously. And sometimes we even dissociate during a sexual encounter. So why does our mind sometimes go somewhere else if sex is supposed to feel so good? Why wouldn't we want to stay there in the moment? So we're going to talk about that, and also I'm going to give you some tips on how to stay in your body during a sexual encounter. Quick disclaimer, all my therapy work has been with men, so this is a male-centered video. Okay, so the two main ways that we leave our body during an encounter is, one, fantasizing about someone else or doing it differently, and two, spectatoring, which we'll get to that. So why would we want to fantasize about a different version of the sex we're currently having? If it's happening in real time, why do we want to mentally be somewhere else? Super simple. You fantasize about something else because you think it will make the current encounter better. So let's talk about spectatoring, and then I'll tell you the trick to stay in your body during an experience. So spectatoring is when you're hot and heavy and your mind leaves your body. You leave your body and you are now a spectator watching the sexual encounter. Okay, you're like in the corner of the room as an onlooker, okay? And it's now a spectator. You are now observing yourself. Most of the time, you don't even know you're doing this, okay? This is because you have been desensitized to that point of view through the porn industry. We're critiquing ourselves or we're critiquing the other person. So the honest reality is that modern men have been trained to be spectators by the porn industry. They have been trained to observe intimacy, but they haven't learned how to participate in intimacy as much. So when intimacy happens, the brain almost processes it like a video that it's watching. It's looking for the right angle. It's looking for the right response from your partner. It's looking for the right body or the reaction to a certain position or touch. Yeah. It's kind of like your body is trying to recreate that good sex that you see or saw in porn, or at least what it thinks is good sex, because hopefully by now we all know, like, porn is to real sex like the MMA is to real fighting. Like, it's all staged, guys, come on. So when you're constantly trying to perform sex, it becomes much less enjoyable. And this is the root cause to almost all ED, erectile dysfunction, because the arousal response is the parasympathetic part of our nervous system. And the anxiety or performance anxiety, that is going to trigger the sympathetic nervous system response, which you may know as fight or flight, kind of the survival response. When you detect threat or danger, that's going to click on your sympathetic nervous system. So when you're in fight or flight, right, your body thinks you're in danger somehow. And so it is going to conserve blood flow. It's actually going to move blood to the core, to your body's core, and it's going to reduce blood flow to your limbs, including that specific limb that you really want pumping. Basically, you can't be present during a sexual encounter if your body thinks that it needs to survive something.
Sexy.
So we talked about why we leave our bodies mentally during sex. Let's talk about some tricks to stay in our bodies during an encounter. Another disclaimer before I get into the tips: if you have experienced sexual violence or physical abuse of any kind, then you might be leaving your body during intimacy as a trauma response. okay? And in that case, these tips are still helpful, but you might need to do some different kind of work in order to feel safe enough to stay in your body during such an encounter. And if you want me to make a video about that, please email me or put it in the comments. Also, meet me here again next week because I will be talking about why modern men are losing libido faster than a baby loses their binky. Okay, the number one trick to stay in your body during a sexual encounter is make some noise, make more noise during sex. So sound is a somatic release for your body. You're releasing energy with every sound that you make, with every word that you speak. Yes, I'm basically telling you to moan more, or talk dirty, or whisper, or breathe heavier so it's more audible. Having those vocalizations can snap you back into your body and help ground you. Okay, 2 more tips. This next one is super quick, but easier said than done. And that is, don't focus on the goal. Don't focus on the ending, the finish line. Focus on what you're feeling. How does your skin feel? How does the parts of your body feel when they touch their parts of their body? All of these things will ground your nervous system into the present experience. Okay, 3rd tip, you have to give up trying to be a porn star. You are not the star of the show, honey. You are not there to provide a service. You are there to share an experience, whether that's a playful experience, an intense experience, an intimate experience, or all of the above. So stop trying to be the guy that performs or that's trying to reenact something that he saw only because he thinks that's what he's supposed to do. And try being the man that lets himself feel what his body is feeling, that lets himself come alive, that lets himself be playful. Because when you do that, the pressure is just going to melt away. And ironically, that's when you become the most magnetic and sexy and fun version of yourself in bed. Staying in your body is a skill. True presence is like a muscle that has to be worked out. You got to put some practice into this. This practice could look like meditation. It could look like mindfulness. It could look like progressive muscle relaxation exercises, which, lucky for you, I have one of those. So if you want to continue this conversation, just click right here.